You are destined.
Yeah. Woke up. I ain't feeling your side.
King Chaka NT. Y'all can check out the music on Spotify, Apple, and other services. I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? KCE. King Chaka.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, an educated and united public cannot be controlled. Get organized. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Podemos ayudarnos más? Si se puede. Let me check here right quick. Make sure that y'all can hear me. Let me check. All right. So today, the name of the show today is Judgment. Judgment. That's the name of the show. You know, a lot of people, am I still good? A lot of people say they don't judge, you know. Still good. They say they don't judge. They're like, I don't judge. I'm not a judgmental person. People tend to say that. But it's not really true, you know. They do judge. A lot of them. Now, some of them that say that are being honest, but most of them are not. And they may think that they're being honest, but they're not, because they don't really think about it. And just like a lot of things, most of the time, people just really don't think about it. They just say things, you know. That's the reason why I don't really like traditions, and I don't like to do what other people do all the time and say what other people say all the time. You know, I like to think about it first and see if I'm okay with it. And sometimes I'm wrong, like dead wrong, you know. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, I've made the decision or whatever about it. And maybe I'll come around with time and be like, okay, yeah, I was wrong about that. Judgment. So, like, people say stuff like, I'm proud of you, you know, and it sounds like an innocent thing to say. But when you dissect it a little bit more, it's like, why should I care, you know, about you being proud of me, you know, um, unless, you know, you're coming from a place where you're supposed to be better than me, upper level or whatever, looking down on me, like I'm supposed to be able to get to where you are. So if they're not your parent, you know, or your significant other or really close friend, you know, and they're like, I'm proud of you, you know, or your child, and they say, I'm proud of you, then they are assuming that they are better, that they're coming from a better place. You know, try to hear me out on this. Okay. I know a lot of people, I'll get a lot of pushback on this, but I believe it's true. You know, it's just one of those things that happens subconsciously. You know, a lot of what happens subconsciously. You know, we don't really think about it. You know, when people are looking at others and they're like, you know, you can do better, you know, little comments like that, or I expect more from you, something like that. You know, these are all judgment things. These are all lines related to judgment, you know, and you go to the Bible, and then people, like I say, people say that they shouldn't judge or whatever, but the people that are religious folks are the most judgmental. And they're like, well, you know, you should be in Christ, you know, you should go to church, or, you know, get your credit score up or whatever. Like, some of these things may be good advice, maybe for some, but they're coming from a place where they are like, you know, I go to church, you know, I have accepted Jesus Christ in my as my Lord and personal Savior. I go to church on Sundays, you know. I have a credit score of 800, you know. I pay my bills on time all the time, every time, you know. Again, like I say, it's coming from a place where they feel like they are better, you know, that they are above you. And it's a judgment, you know. Um, I was thinking about this related to the guy who was strangled to death, the homeless guy, and how a lot of the comments online are people being like really insensitive to the fact that the guy was homeless, and like his life doesn't matter, you know. And there goes a judgment, you know. I don't know if I played the clip, but I saw a clip where they were talking about how all these different scenarios where people end up homeless, you know, automatically people assume that if you're homeless, you must be on drugs, you know, you made bad decisions, you put yourself there, or you just want to be there. But that's not necessarily the case. And when you blanket people into a group like that, that's you making a prejudged assumption, you know, that's a judgment, you know. And like, if a person chooses to be like, let's say, because I was watching this clip about people who were kind of like trying to live off the grid. They live in like not mobile homes, but like RVs or whatever. And there's this app that's coming out to connect property owners to people with mobile homes, because our system is so hard on people trying to live out off the grid or whatever, non-traditionally, and they get told, they get fined, they get, you know, they get in trouble, they have problems. So this app connects people who own properties to people who have RVs and want to park them, you know, because that's how they want to live, you know. And then looking at that person who decides to not live the traditional way, people look down on them like, what are you doing? You're a hippie, you know, you're a bum, you know, go get a job like everybody else, you know, go pay rent or mortgage like everybody else, go pay a car note like everybody else. But just because a person chooses to live a different way doesn't make you better than them, you know, at all. Some of this stuff might make a lot of sense. Like, you got people who retire and they decide to buy like a boat and they just sail around the world, and they sold all their stuff. And so that they can have enough money for the rest of their days, they don't want to pay rent, mortgage, car note every month, you know. They just have a nest egg, and maybe they have a little side gig or something that brings in a little bit of income, you know. And mostly it's about their overhead being low, you know. And if you're a business owner, then you understand low overhead, you know. It's about how much you're spending versus how much you're making, you know. So a lot of us are upside down. A lot of us are living check to check. We're paying rent, mortgage, car note, light bill, phone bill, um, gas or whatever, you know, countless other little bills, internet, cable, you know, you know, countless, a list of bills that we're paying every month. And the amount that we make maybe only adds up to a little bit more than that. You know, you got gas and food that you have to pay for also. And then, you know, you look around and you see people and they look like they're living really good. They have the nice car, they have the nice house, whatever, you know, they got HBO Max. You know what I mean? They look like they're living good. But they're maxed out on all their credit cards. Their bills are as much as their income, right around the same amount. They're just barely making ends meet every month. You know, they're really struggling, even though it looks like they're not. And it's a lot of people that's like that. They eat tomato soup and noodles. I don't know, frozen dinners, sandwiches and stuff every day. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging anybody. Just understand that what I'm saying is they are living on the edge. You know, they if they wanted to go out to eat, or if they wanted to buy like a steak dinner or whatever, they couldn't, or it's a real treat that they can only do on very seldom occasions. And like, you know, again, I'm not judging anyone. You have people that are just in a unfortunate circumstance that are in that same position. But I'm talking about the ones that appear, you know, to be successful. They're the ones that walk around and tell you, I'm successful and I'm better than you, and they're judging you. Meanwhile, when they go home, they're eating noodles because they are really struggling. And they're just putting this facade or this image or this face on for the rest of the world to appear that they are good, you know. And there's a lot of people doing that, you know. The way the corporations are, they want you to be in that position. They want you to feel like you need to have more square footage than your neighbor, that you need to have the latest this, you need to have the newest phone. People buy the new phone every year. Every year they buy the newest phone, and the upgrades are like non-existent, but it's really just a status symbol. And what I've noticed with the phones, they have the colors now, is how they do it. That they change the colors of the phone so that everyone, when they pull out their phone, everyone knows it's the latest phone because of the color. And it's really all about that. It's all about signifying to everyone that I have the latest phone. You see the color of it? It's the latest phone. Which color is your phone? Oh, that's a couple of generations ago. You need to upgrade. You need to get like me. The people don't benefit from that. The corporations benefit from that. Corporations benefit from us wanting to keep on buying. You know, it kind of taken me off of Judgment, but I'm going in this direction. But you ever heard of planned obsolescence? You know, it's the idea of building something with a plan for it to have to be purchased again, that has to be worn out, that it can't last forever, like, you know, or last a really long time. It's designed to wear out so that you have to go back and buy another one, you know. And they came out with that years and years ago. So, but with the phones, they've taken it to another level with the brainwashing people into making them think that they have to have the newest phone. So they don't even have to, the device or whatever it is doesn't have to stop working or no longer, or wear out. You're just gonna go buy the newest thing anyways, you know, because they got you on that, you know. And it's a competition. And then your friends, it's always your friends, you know. Like I say, people are like walking ads a lot of times. It's your friends. They're like, hey, so which phone do you have? Oh, I have the such and such. You need to get like me or whatever, you know. How much square footage do your house have? Oh, mine has this. And it's like, how much did your car cost? Well, my car cost this or whatever. You know, you need to get like me, you know. And that's the reason why I don't deal with a lot of people, because this pressure is really influential, you know. It really can take you away. And, you know, what I be talking about, we talk about on this show a lot about, like, you know, the zombie apocalypse. And it's like, that's the equivalent of the zombie apocalypse, and you getting bitten by the zombie when they influence you and they convince you to go buy the newest, latest thing or whatever. You know, you got to have the Apple iWatch or the Samsung watch or whatever. You know, you got to have it. If you don't have it, then you're a loser. You know, I saw a post on Instagram where this chick was like, if the guy has a Samsung phone, I can't even deal with him. You know, and I say all the time, I think the Samsung phones are better. I really do, from the bottom of my heart, even though I have an Apple. I ended up with the Apple, and it's so hard to go back. Like the switch over was such a pain. I don't want to go through that again. So that's why I'm kind of stuck with the Apple. But she's like, yeah, the guy has to have a Samsung. I mean, the guy has to have the Apple phone. And I think she said he needs to have two phones or some shit. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's just over the top ridiculous where we're at. Back to Judgment. I mean, the freest person, the freest person is the one who doesn't really care what other people think. Like, you become a dangerous individual. And I think a lot of people don't like you when those comments of I'm proud of you doesn't affect you, or the comments of you need to have the latest phone, it doesn't affect you, and you don't engage in these conversations. I think it irritates people. It gets on their nerves. It bothers them. It's like Mr. Smith jumps into them and they just get angry for no reason. Like, it's because the program isn't working. You're like Neo, you're a glitch. The program isn't working on you. I just feel like, you guys, if you want to be more free and more intellectual and more alive and live life to more of its fullest, you have to get away from judging others, because when you are judging others, you're automatically self-conscious. Those people that are very judgmental of others are automatically they automatically have like a lower self-esteem. They automatically have they're very concerned about someone judging them, being judged. The person that judges a lot is very sensitive to the feeling of someone judging them. And it's just a perpetuating, like, self-sustaining system, that leads you down this road of misery. You're miserable. These people are miserable. For you to be happy, you can't be concerned with other people's judgments. Now, there are circumstances where, because, like I say, I don't really care what people think, but sometimes what people think is important, because it can be detrimental. It could affect you getting a job or not. It could affect you being alive or not. Someone might decide to kill you. So being aware of your circumstances is important, but actually being concerned with what they're thinking is not where you want to be if you want to be a free individual. Anyways, that's my soapbox for today. Call me AOC. Let's scroll on Twitter right quick. Maybe we'll get some people in here. I'm early, so the guys haven't had a chance to get in here. Let me see this first tweet. It says, "Make peace now, alternative news. This guy was born in Chile, educated in U.S., then married a Ukrainian woman who lives in Russia with their two kids. He was critical of Zelensky, so the Ukrainian police arrested him at gunpoint because he was armed with words." It says he should not have gone to Ukraine. There's absolutely no freedom there, like in Germany, 1943. God awful place, kept afloat by our money. Yeah, well, I don't know about all that, but whenever it's times of war, whenever it's wartime, it's scary. If the United States was to be in an active war, then things like that would be happening here. Let me read some comments. It says, treason and criticism are not synonymous. This is yet more proof Ukraine is not a democracy but fascist. Another comment says, I send what money I can to Ukraine. I donate some out of each of my paychecks. Their victory is inevitable, and we must all do what we can to help them. Oh my God. Talk about somebody who's thoroughly brainwashed right here. I saw a report that said Ukraine is likely to be done. I think I have it on here by the summertime. And it's an inside guy who's saying it's a military guy saying that by the end of the summer, Ukraine might be done. Talking about you sending money out of your own pocket to these people. Talking about we all must do what we can to help them. Why? What about Sudan? What's going on in Sudan? What about Haiti? What's going on in Haiti? What about Venezuela and what's going on in Venezuela? Do you feel like you should send money to those other places? Why Ukraine specifically do you feel so passionately that you have to send money to them out of your own pocket and you saying that everyone else should do it? Maybe it has something to do with how the media is telling you to do that. They tell you who to care about and who not to care about. You know, come on, man. You thoroughly brainwashed. Let me read another comment. It says, no, I absolutely will not give more money to a war we have nothing to do with. Not to mention, the government has sent billions to this country, and we are still sending money weekly. What is your measly $100 going to do to tip the scales and send them to victory? Is that a reply to buddy? It must be. Let me read some more. It says, I remember him. He spoke out on the video. I remember correctly, if I remember correctly. Another comment says, he should have gone to Russia and he would have been safer there. Maybe. Another comment that says, Coach Red Pill, we will never forget. Another comment that says, he isn't critical of Zelensky. He was a vocal supporter of taking Ukraine off the map. Such people can never feel safe anywhere. You know, I don't really know, so I can't really say. So, but if you are saying take Ukraine off the map, then I can totally understand how they would want to come and kick in your door. Why would you say something like that and then be in their country and not be a citizen of their country? I think that's not a good move. That's not wise. What do I know? I read another comment that says, pen is mightier than the gun, especially when it doesn't lie and writes real truths that don't want to see the light of day. Another comment says, all the traitors must be punished. This one has the Ukrainian colors in the background. Another comment that says, he's not a traitor. Voice out the wrongdoing of our corrupt government. Voice of your corrupt government. Another comment that says, he left his wife, children to fend for themselves while he was paid by Russia to spread lies and propaganda. He is a disgrace. These people are definitely on two sides of this. Another comment that says, you said he lives in Russia. How does SBU go to Russia to arrest him? Shit don't add up. He's obviously not in Russia. He's obviously in Ukraine. Come on. Did you read the freaking thing? Let me get out of here because I'm getting irritated with the comments. People don't read. They're quick to make comments. Don't even read the damn post. At least make an informed fucking comment.
Julian Assange is a newspaper publisher. He published leaked documents. You know, why are we? I mean, if I was any newspaper publisher in this country,
I'd be afraid.
I would be worried about that. That now he can go to jail for life because he published leaked documents of great import to the American people, of things that should not have been secret, that we should have known about, revelations that affect our civil rights, affect our foreign policy, affect things that we have a right to know about. And, you know, it's really... It's strange that there's any support for his imprisonment among the press. And I think the press is beginning to figure this out finally. The most controversial of those figures is Edwin Snowden. But Edwin Snowden released documents that showed us that we were all being spied upon. And that's important for Americans to know. And in fact, it was so important that Congress passed laws based upon his revelations to protect the American people. So why are we punishing the whistleblower rather than punishing the people who were illegally spying on us?
Say it loud.
That's what we should be doing. We shouldn't be jailing dissenters in our country. We shouldn't be jailing whistleblowers. We should be jailing the people who break the law.
Saying, goodness gracious, I've been screaming that. It's so crazy. But see, the media determines who's guilty and who's not, and who's a criminal and who's not. So it's like, and people are brainwashed, like that dude on the post earlier, who's like, they decide on who like you should be angry with and who you shouldn't be. Like, say, people don't even know the real situation with Julian Assange, but they figure it's kind of like when somebody is a criminal, somebody got locked up, they must have did something wrong. So it's like Julian Assange, he must have did something wrong. The American government wants him to be in prison. They want him jailed. He must have did something wrong. People don't know anything about the story at all, don't care to. The people tell you that this guy's a bad guy, and you just automatically assume that he is, that like, and like I was saying in the show last night, it's like, it's so crazy that our government is so quick to persecute people who are whistleblowers. Immediately, the person who blows the whistle on something gets in trouble. It happens time and time again, over and over and over and over again. You guys, check it out, look at it, peep the pattern. The person who did the wrong ends up not even getting in trouble, but the person who revealed information that somebody did something wrong ends up being the person who gets in the most trouble. Like, it happens over and over again. That's the case with Julian Assange. The people that Julian Assange, showed were doing something wrong, no one got in trouble. He's the only one who's gotten in trouble. That's what continues to happen over and over and over again. There's so many cases of that happening. I don't see how anybody can argue with that. And then what he's saying about the journalists, at the very least, the journalists should be worried about it. Like, at least the journalists should be like on Julian Assange's side, because if they came for him today, who's to say they won't come for you next? But then I would say that RFK is being, very optimistic here, because a lot of the journalists are going to stay in their lane. They're not going to say, they're fed everything that they say anyways. It's all approved anyways. There's no original thought. They're not really doing journalism. They're not really writing, op-ed pieces or whatever. They're just parroting whatever they're told to say, and they know what stories to do stuff about and what stories to stay away from, to protect their job. And you can't blame them for, wanting to protect their job and their life and their freedom, but at the same time, who's to say when the line is going to keep on moving in a direction, and one day that line might cross over your journalism, something that you do. Now they've decided to come at you, and you thought you were safe. But if you don't defend the other journalists, then who's to say when one day they come for you? So all the journalists have to be afraid. And look what they did. They shut down RT. You know what I'm saying? All the big names, they're kicking out of the major media. Anybody who's dissenting voices or speaking about the other side or trying to have a dialogue between the two sides is ostracized and kicked out and don't get to have a job. Anybody that speaks bad about the military industrial complex, anybody that speaks bad about this freaking left-right paradigm that we have, that because everyone speaks from the left or from the right or whatever, or from the Democratic perspective or from the Republican perspective or whatever. Like, you have to keep to your side. And if you cross sides, then you're a bad guy. You're going to lose your job. Anybody that speaks about the pharmaceutical industrial complex, the military industrial complex, the deep state, any of these things, they're not going to have a job, and even worse, they may get hurt or go to jail. And they're purging it. And that's the reason why nobody's watching the news anymore. Like, anybody, the younger folks are not watching it. They don't have no faith in the news at all. They don't have no trust in the media at all. The movies have turned to shit. They're so freaking trying to not piss anybody off that it's just trash that they're making. They have to keep remaking old stuff because they can't make anything original and new because they're afraid it's going to piss somebody off. Crazy ass situation that we've got ourselves into here. This one, it says, when they said hiring more IRS agents was about making billionaires pay their fair share, they meant you. It says, I'm a politician making millions by insider trading. IRS guy said, I didn't see anything. Another guy is, I'm just a waiter trying to pay my bills. The IRS guy, you're going to be audited. We kind of mentioned that in the other show too. It's like they lied whenever they said they were hiring all those IRS agents. All they have to do, they don't even need to hire all those IRS agents. All they have to do is enforce the law that's on the books. They don't need all these IRS agents. They just need to stop people from being able to put money in offshore accounts, hiding their money, faking their taxes, not paying taxes. All they have to do is, and then it won't take a lot of agents to do that because this is done by big companies and really, mostly big companies, are doing this. So boom, the amount of money that will come into the system if they just enforce the law. They already have the laws for this stuff. So, but these loopholes people use, mostly the corporations, and they just don't close. All they have to do is close the loopholes. No, they're too busy sanctioning all the other countries in the whole world and talking about we don't have enough money to pay our bills here in the United States. Just collect the taxes of the stuff that you're supposed to be collecting. It's already on the books. Just enforce the laws that's already on the books. Just, the antitrust laws, the tax code. Just enforce that stuff. That's all you really have to do. You don't have to hire a bunch of IRS agents. But if you're hiring a bunch of IRS agents, you need an army of IRS agents if you're going after the regular folks, because all of us are spread out. It's a whole bunch of us. So they need a bunch of agents to do that work. It's crazy. And then that's going to be a drop in the bucket in the system anyway. Some waiter who's getting audited, how much money do you think they're really going to get out of the waiter who, maybe just didn't do his taxes properly or whatever the hell, didn't claim his cash tips? How much you really think they're going to get out for that? They could just do one corporation and get Lord knows how much. Let me read this one. It says, President Ho Chi Minh, the American imperialists are the enemies of the peoples of the world. They use their military power to dominate and exploit other nations, to overthrow legitimate governments, and to prop up puppet regimes. They are the embodiment of aggression and violence, and they must be opposed by all who value freedom and justice. Yeah, you would be called a communist back in the days. And they might call you a McCarthyist, and they might come and knock on your door back in the days in the 60s and 70s if you was repeating anything that this guy said. He was the enemy back then. So it says Ho Chi Minh's message to the Congress of the Indonesian People's Party, September 23rd, 1960. Yeah. How much truth is in that still today? And it's 2023. Oh, snap. Let's read some of the tweets underneath. It says, surely it's true, but the ideology of this man does not differ much against the one he fights. Killing thousands of compatriots, he showed himself the same. Maybe. But that's what people love to do, is point fingers. It's like, but that dude did it. That's not going to get you out of trouble. Like, it's so crazy to me that people use that all the time, especially in political discourse. It's like, and even on the show, a lot of times we talk about something, and then it's like people start saying, but this guy did it, but that guy did it, but what about that guy? What that guy is doing? So, but if you was in the front of the court of law and you did whatever you did that was illegal, that got you landed in court and in jail and in trouble, and in court you said, what about that guy? That guy did it. What do you think how do you think that's gonna affect your situation? We're not talking about that guy right now. We're talking about you. Once we finish dealing with you, maybe we'll go over there and get that guy. But right now, we're talking about you. Let me read this one. It says, it is understandable to feel conflict about Ho Chi Minh's actions and other impact on his country. However, to equate him with the murderous U.S. invaders is a gross oversimplification and a distortion of historical facts. So this guy rebutted that, what the guy before said. Dang, he wrote a whole thing too. Let's read some of it. Firstly, it is important to acknowledge that Ho Chi Minh was fighting for the independence of his country and the liberation of his people from foreign colonial rule. His actions were a response to the atrocities committed by the French colonial authorities and the subsequent American invasion, both of which caused immense suffering and loss of life. It is also important to recognize that the majority of these deaths occurred during the Vietnam War, which was primarily fought between the U.S.-backed South Vietnamese government and the liberation forces led by HCM. The war was a direct result of the U.S. refusal to respect the Geneva Accords, which had called for a nationwide election in Vietnam to determine its future government. Instead, the U.S. chose to prop up a puppet government in the South, leading to a protracted and bloody conflict. Furthermore, it is important to note that HCM repeatedly called for negotiations and peaceful resolution to the conflict, as evidenced by his letters to U.S. presidents and his attempts to engage in diplomatic talks. However, these appeals were repeatedly ignored or rebuffed by the U.S. government, which was more interested in pursuing its own interests in the region. It is clear that the war and its devastating consequences could have been avoided if the U.S. had chosen to respect the will of the Vietnamese people and not intervened militarily. Also, it is worth considering the long-term consequences of American and French intervention in Vietnam. The destruction caused by the war, as well as those of chemical weapons like Agent Orange, had a devastating impact on the Vietnamese people and their environment that is still being felt today. In conclusion, it is important to recognize that Ho Chi Minh was fighting for the liberation and independence of his people in face of foreign colonialism and aggression. To equate him with the murderous French and American invaders is not only unfair, but also a distortion of historical reality. I gotta say that a lot of this, oh man, did my phone die? A lot of this sounds just like what's happening in Ukraine right now. Yep. What do they say? History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Yeah, it's not exactly the same, very similar. And the results of this is going to be horrible for Ukraine for generations to come, without a doubt. And if the United States really cared, the NATO really cared about Ukraine, they would pull out right now and stop the damage. Look how long the Vietnam War went on. How many people died on both sides? For what? What did we accomplish? What did we accomplish with the Vietnam War? What did we accomplish with the Iraq War? You know, what did we accomplish in Afghanistan? Help me, somebody. What did we accomplish? Anyway, that's pretty emotional. Let's move on.
Destroyed Ukraine, killed over 100,000 Ukrainians, but it's still going. Why is that? Because the Biden administration has kept it going. They could have forced a peace. They haven't. They don't want to. Why is that? Why kill all these Ukrainians? Why destroy an entire country? Well, because people are getting rich. BlackRock plans to get rich. So BlackRock is now saying out loud that the war in Ukraine, the death of all these Ukrainians, is actually a great opportunity to transform Ukraine into a beacon of capitalism. Right. Goldman Sachs is excited too. Their CEO says that rebuilding Ukraine represents, quote, good economic incentives for real return and real investment. Imagine. Whose money is that? Oh, it's going to be yours to rebuild Ukraine. These guys are going to get rich from it. You see how this works? So yesterday, because these people have no self-awareness whatsoever, the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, went on camera to say he's thrilled about all these economic opportunities. Watch this.
It is obvious that American business can become the locomotive that will once again push forward global economic growth. We have already managed to attract attention and have cooperation with such giants of the international financial and investment world as BlackRock, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs. Such American brands as Starlink or Westinghouse have already become part of our Ukrainian way. Your brilliant defense systems, such as HIMARS or Bradleys, are already uniting our history of freedom with your enterprises. We are waiting for Patriots. We are looking closely at Abrams. Thousands of such examples are possible. And everyone can become a big business by working with Ukraine.
Or you can make a lot of money in Ukraine. It's the Ukrainian way, which is, of course, corruption, one of the most corrupt countries in the world. But if you're looking for a money laundering opportunity, well, it's the perfect place for you. Send us more tanks, by the way. And as by design, it was confirmed today that this country is, in fact, sending more M1 Abrams tanks to Ukraine.
One second, y'all. One second. So, BlackRock benefiting from the Ukraine war. And you heard all those other names, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Westinghouse. Shit, it won't be long before they have a McDonald's, a Walmart. Is that what this is all about? I wonder, and BlackRock has the deal to rebuild Ukraine. So they don't even care that Ukraine gets destroyed. I saw a clip. I don't know if I have it on here, but it showed last night we showed some clips of Bakhmut being basically on fire. I saw another clip where it was Ukrainian forces who demolished these like apartment buildings. So they did it on their own. Like why? I don't know. We can only speculate, but it's like, I don't know, maybe like the more damage that happens, the more benefit it has for the powers that be, if you will, to come in and rebuild this stuff. Maybe they're thinking about after the war and business deals for after the war. So that's the reason why they freaking gonna destroy the buildings. Oh shit. Give me a second. Do I have something on here? Oh yeah, can I go to this? They won't let me go to this. It's so irritating. Mindset therapy. Let me go to this. And then I'm going to come back to this Ukraine thing. Hold on 1 second. Mindset therapy. All right. Let's see if we can find it. Come on. Okay, here it is. Okay, this is a different subject, but I want to play this and then I'm going to come back to Ukraine because I want to send a text. Check it out.
This is my wife. I'm going to have to get this. Hello?
Hey, babe.
Hey, Bethany. How's it going?
Good. Are you with Ted?
Yeah, I'm on the red circle right now, actually.
Oh, great. Good luck. And don't forget to mention me.
I won't, babe. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. It's going to get different in a minute. Sorry. This is my wife. I'm going to have to get this. Hello?
Hey, babe.
Hey, Bethany. How's it going?
Good. Are you with Ted?
Yeah, I'm on the red circle right now, actually. How often do we find ourselves in a new city, wrestling with our phones, trying not to avoid people, trying not to bump into people, trying to figure out where we're going and where we're supposed to be? It's even harder when we don't speak the language, right? Let me show you something. Invisible devices should feel so natural to use that you almost forget about their existence.
Les appareils invisibles devraient sembler si naturels à utiliser. Vous oubliez presque leur existence.
you'll note that's me and my voice speaking fluent French using an AI speech model that's part of my own AI. How often do we find the future will not be held in your hand, and it won't be on your face either? The future of technology might almost be invisible. Thank you.
This is pretty cool right here. It's mindset therapy. It says Humane, a company founded by former Apple employees, is creating a new wearable device that is designed for artificial intelligence. The device looks like a small smartphone and has a laser projector, microphone for voice commands, a speaker, a camera, and other sensors for gesture controls. The device can work on its own and doesn't need to be paired with a smartphone or any other device. It is designed to be safe and respectful of privacy while blending seamlessly into the user's daily life, mimicking how humans interact with the world. Would you be interested in using this device? So, look, the first comment says, Jesus, come now, we're ready. This company is trying to take over like the cell phones and be the future of like the devices. And this caught my eye because I think that this could have a chance. Like, who knows what's going to happen? Like, it's practically impossible to predict the future and what's going to catch on and what's not. But this looks like one of those things that has a really good chance of catching on, you know. And so instead of having a cell phone, you just wear this device on you, and you know, it's also like discreet and invisible, and it seems pretty cool. What's up, Pat?
What's the deal?
How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I can't complain.
You didn't see my message earlier, did you?
Yeah, I did. I saw it.
All of, not just the one on the phone, but I've been communicating somewhat. Some of the stuff, some of it might be a little too far
Oh
gone.
shit, the comments. No, I didn't see them. Damn, Doc's been making comments too. I missed all of this. I'm sorry. First comment it said it's humane. It's inhuman not to judge. Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult for us to not judge, but I think we always need to be striving to be our higher self, you
Well,
know,
I think it
embracing.
depends on the level. I mean, you know, because you broke it down in a different perspective from where I came originally, but I was just, you know, just yapping at the time. But either way, yeah, I mean, when you decide, when you make small decisions, no matter how big or small, you're being judgmental. Like, you know, do I want this color shirt or, you know, I mean, everything you do, you're making judgment.
Yeah, but that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about
I,
other people. Yeah,
but well, and that's why I'm saying, you know,
yeah,
based on what I said, because I mean, it was before you got into your point. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And like what I was about to say, I think that we should embrace our higher selves whenever possible. You know, embracing our lower selves is being the least that we can be, you know, because you know, at the end of the day, we are animals. I think we forget about that, and we're part of the animal kingdom, you know what I mean? So we have those natural type of tendencies, we have those, you know, uh animalistic tendencies, you know.
Well,
That's a part of us forever.
I
But
think
I
that's a perspective. I don't really agree with us being animals, but okay.
Well, you know, I don't think that we're separate from the rest of the animals, the rest of the animal kingdom. We're part of the whole system of the universe, the system of
I,
life.
well, I mean, insects are a part of the system too. Are we
Yeah.
insects?
Well, we have insect tendencies too. Trees, rivers, everything.
What if all of these different things has aspects of us?
We wasn't created first.
Because they was preparing the ground for us.
Either way, we wasn't created first. So
It
all the we're a culmination of them. We came later.
okay, maybe, but
They wasn't made out of us.
even if we came later, because I mean, really, a lot of the insects and stuff that we see now is a hybrid, hybridation, whatever, a hybrid form of uh, of something that existed before. Like it's still not the same. So I mean, even whatever was created then, most of it doesn't even exist now. But maybe a version of it. But and the same thing with us. But still, in all, we have a totally different function than any other creature on the planet.
I don't think so. I don't think fundamentally. I think that fundamentally we have our role, and and they have theirs, and it all fits together in a puzzle piece. We're no greater than them.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. When we have cows and chickens and all of the different animals running the politics of the country, then I'll say that they match us. But
Well, our politics are just within us. Who's to say that other animals don't have politics that we're not aware of? They wouldn't be aware of our politics, and we wouldn't be aware of theirs.
they don't have a choice to live outside of their own politics.
Do we?
Yes.
I don't know that that's true.
I do.
Another comment you made, you said he's indoctrinated. That was probably related to the guy who made the comment on Twitter that I was reading his
Yeah,
comment.
we got to send money to Ukraine dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
like,
talking about out of my own pocket, and y'all should do it too.
shit. They won't get a look. They already done got all the dimes and nickels they gonna get out of me.
I'm not going to voluntarily send them a damn thing.
You know what I'm saying? They made decisions without my permission. They just like, look, this what we doing. I was like, oh, you mother. I mean, I had plans on doing something else with that money, but you know,
You dirty Emma Effers.
what was this one? Let me see.
The next one was, I'm afraid for RFK, they're going to try to get rid of him.
Oh yeah, and the next one behind that goes along with that.
Yeah, the next one says, don't get Epstein.
Yeah.
And then this one, it says, most of journalists with the biggest voices are paid for. Yep. Yep. Because otherwise, why would they pay them so much money? And that's what I be saying all the time. Like, I think Rachel Maddow is the highest paid one that's out there.
Maddow?
Yeah, I think,
Oh no, that's that's the Democratic one.
yeah,
The
MSNBC.
Okay, yeah, wherever she's from.
I think that she's the highest paid of all of them on either side.
Well, and you
And
can tell. I mean, because I would say that between her and Don Lemon before he got fired, they were probably the top paid on the as far as being Democrat shields. Um, because I mean, no matter what was going on, like no matter how stupid needs to be said, they are there and they're down and they're gonna go and they're gonna laugh it off as much as they can before they go on, and then or even try to make it funny because they know that they're gonna have to laugh saying some of the shit they say, you know. So, but
yep. So like, and that's what I was saying about Rachel Maddow specifically. I mean, like with all the money that they pay her, I don't know how people could think that the words that's coming out of her mouth are really
bro,
genuine.
these are actors and actresses, bro.
Yeah.
That's real. They're not journalists.
Yeah, she's good at what she does, and that's why they pay her a lot. Because if she was saying what she really thought, they wouldn't pay her all that money. She probably wouldn't even be on TV.
Bro, and then just think about it, because I mean, because she is helping them mold people's minds, that's why they pay her more. Because I mean, it's not much more than being a sitcom, being on a sitcom, but because she has to like day to day, regardless of what's going on, she gets updated on what direction things are going in, or little nuances that she could add to the conversation that's already been going on to direct the conversation or people's thoughts. But that's why they get paid that much, is because they're the ones who's actually paid to control the way you think.
Yep.
And those voices don't get silenced. You know what I'm saying? There's certain
Because
ones.
they're doing the job. They're doing the job of that what they want them to do. So
Yeah.
the ones that's going against what they want are the ones that get silenced. And that's what I be saying. Like, it's like the worst people tend to get elevated. The people with the least amount of like integrity and scruples and people who care about justice and loyalty is what's important, right? That's what they care about.
Yeah. I mean, well, and what that's, I mean, and that's, I think, also one of the reasons why Trump tried to hire people in his family, because he knew, like, the further away he went from his family, the more likely that he could get infiltrated, and things could turn the way that he did, but turn out in a unfavorable fashion. But
And,
he was dealing with people who've been in politics, like they know a lot of the tricks of the trade, and like I know they took him by surprise on a lot of stuff. He wasn't ready.
and this this comment, it says getting rid of people that actually care about America has to go from media and politics. That was your comment.
Yeah, you gotta be more concerned about the world. You can't, the international community is way more important than just what we're dealing with here at home. Like, maybe if we're gonna be, and this is my opinion, so I mean, don't get your panties in a bunch. Not you, but the people. But
Yeah.
when it really boils down to it, um, the people that y'all have, especially the Democratic side, has, you know, because I do believe that we do need to care about the world, but we can't be mommy and daddy to everybody when we got, what I'm saying, we ain't swept around our back door in a long time, if ever. What I'm saying? We always had cobwebs and dirt in the corner, and shit that we needed to clean up, but we still trying to go around and tell other people how to live their lives. I just, but the mob, the mob is seems like the mob is winning.
Yeah,
I,
definitely.
I've never been attacked so badly, so much by, and I guess that's why I get so angry with the DNC or Democratic people, people who follow Democrat, because regardless of like, they're not doing their own research to kind of see another side. They're locked in. They turn it their favorite channel. They just watch what they watch, and then when somebody tell them what's going on, that's all they know is what somebody said to them. Even if it, whether it was a good description of it all, or you only jumping in at this moment. Like, don't, if you don't know what the hell going on, just shut up. Like, don't try to, what I'm saying.
So this comment, you said they never planned on enforcing their own treason. I think
Well,
we was talking about Ukraine right there.
I think it was Ukraine. No, what was it? I think it came after Ukraine. No, I think this was after. Yeah,
No, that
this was
was
after
Vietnam.
RFK. Yeah.
Vietnam.
Well, what really, with that comment, I'm mostly talking about, like, we have a bunch of criminals in our country, and the acts that they're making is actually treasonous. They're not really acting for the United, the America. They're acting for their own interests. That's treasonous in my book. When you can say the hell with the people, you can make all the decisions that you want without, what I'm saying, because they really believe that we're not intelligent enough to make the decisions. And that might be true for a number of people in this country, but at the same time, there are enough of us that we can replace everybody that's down there and let them go. Look, y'all go on vacation, y'all go and enjoy the rest of y'all days while we clean this mess up.
Yeah. Doc said they're still digging up landmines in Vietnam.
Shit.
Because that's probably when I was making the comment about how, like, with Ukraine and how much they're gonna be for generations. They're gonna
Well, it's not, you said, I remember you said it was the same thing going on in Ukraine, but not necessarily.
similar.
The shit that's going on with Vietnam. I mean, that was going on with Vietnam is way different because like it was them really trying to steal the resources from from Vietnam, that area of uh was it Vietnam, Japan, like they try they wanted to give because they were trying to give control or power to China or somebody that they was willing to work with them at the time, but there were more colorful people in Vietnam and Japan that they didn't want that because they were blocking the dark skinned people from being able to have power. So I mean, Vietnam are were still at that time um, look darker than it was darker than you. Probably my color or darker. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of the things that they was trying to keep from because a lot of the resources at the time that was very important for the industrial age was coming from that area. So,
Yeah. So,
but
but that's the thing that what you just said is another thing that's similar to what's happening in Ukraine. Is related
no,
to the
no.
resources.
Well, I mean, it is related to the resources, but the thing is that all right, because I mean, you would have to point that more directly to Russia, because Russia would be in the same the similar position to Vietnam in this case, because it's the United States that's this pushing NATO, if you want to be technical, that's pushing this war for the resources that's going on in Russia and across that region of Russia, Ukraine. They want to be able to control all of it, and that's why they took the opportunity they could to annex Ukraine, so that it could be like a regional thing, even though we know it's like the precursor to World War III.
And the last comment you made was, I thought Tucker got fired. That clip I was playing, which I can go back to now, it was before.
Oh, I assume so, but I'd still been seeing him everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other dude was fired, man. Like, I mean, y'all done booted him off TV, but they still making money off of his videos. I bet you that.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well, they still got to pay him
YouTube
too, I'm sure.
YouTube is lit with Tucker Carlson stuff. But
So
I
that
think that's how they was really getting paid though.
probably.
Because after they lost a lot of the advertisement,
Mm-hmm.
he was still airing on regular TV without advertisement.
Yep.
Maybe the pillow dude. So I mean, they was still like they still had eyes on that that his segment.
Yep.
But yeah, YouTube is,
So
I'm sure, is definitely still cutting checks for him.
this was what I played earlier with the Tucker Carlson. So this person who tweeted it, he says Tucker Carlson reacting to a video of Zelensky thanking BlackRock. Tucker has consistently covered the corruption in Ukraine. In February this year, BlackRock disclosed ownership of 45.74 million shares of Fox Corporation. Now we know
What?
Tucker Carlson has been fired. Coincidences. So it's saying in February this year, BlackRock disclosed ownership of
Mm,
45.74 million shares of Fox Corporation. So
mm.
maybe Tucker didn't know that. He's bad mouthing BlackRock,
One of his
who is,
owners,
yeah.
one of his biggest owners.
Well, I don't know what the percentage is, but 45.74 million shares, it sounds like a lot.
That's probably. Well, I mean, they can break it down. They can, you know, split them. Do splits, and depending on how many times it's gone through split. I mean, you can break it down as much as you need to, but when it comes down to it, I mean, I guess you have to really see what percentage of of that company because I would assume that Murdoch, isn't that Rupert Murdoch?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that he wouldn't want to sell out more than half of his shares because he would, he would want him and his sons or his family to still be able to exist on the board. But yeah, I mean, they probably could buy, bought up as much as they could without them losing majority.
This says, interesting. The BlackRock, as most corporations, incredibly all from the same religious lobbying, got 9 trillion only in this few months. Wow. While Ukraine, like Europe economy, is disintegrating to serve their business profits, shamefully supported the fake corrupted European autocrats. I don't really get what he's saying there. It says news BlackRock assets grow over 9 trillion.
Well,
Um,
because
related to Ukraine, probably.
I think BlackRock, because I mean you remember the video I sent you like months ago. I think you may say you may have seen some of that before that, but that video explains to you how some of these very same companies, like BlackRock and it was I think two more at the time that were like the biggest investment companies in the world, and they will own things straight out or through the investment company, depending on what's most viable. Uh, so really, when it boils down to it, like they might own Chase. You know what I'm saying? Like BlackRock could own a good portion of Chase and Wells Fargo and all the different banks to where, I mean, depends on how they're structuring it. They still own it, no matter from whatever angle you look at. And that's pretty much I think they said that's what's like over 80% of the world, like
Mm.
the world, Craig. This shit, they they own damn near everything, and and it's all because I mean when we're talking about assets, I mean we've been dealing with a fiat money for all this time, so I mean they've built up, uh, I guess you could say, a fortune through a debt system. So really, when it all boils down, if the money was based on something that actually had value, they would be owing every dollar that they claim to be positive on.
Let me read this comment. It says, this is an old game. Contractors are the other wing of the military theater. The
Hmm.
afterwards, when more profits pile on, destroy then rebuild, destroy then rebuild. No surprise, this is exactly what's happening in Ukraine. Same old players in Ukraine, same old players everywhere.
Oh yeah, and that's pretty much summed up what I was just saying. Like that's all of it works in together because Black Hawk. There was other like because what's the it's like a militia group that goes in, like instead of sending United States, they'll send in this private group to go and do certain tasks that the U.S. can't attach their name to, but it's a segment. Some of them might actually, a lot of them are under contract through the USA, so they work for the USA through independent, corporate shell organization. So like they end up owning all of these different things. They're rebuilding, like even like shoot, back from uh I don't know if it was BlackRock at the time. I forget. Black Eagle, Black. I don't know. It was some other stuff that at the time. I think they kind of changed some of the names up over time. Um, but even like when Bush was in office, there was all of these different contracts were working under what was originally their main company, and everybody else under them was subcontract, but they pretty much work for them without really saying, legally working through another company. It's all paperwork. That's the only thing that's dividing any of this. They all like it's all one big conglomerate, but they break it down through LLCs and corps and S corps and whatever else that they can, however they can manipulate the situation.
Yeah. Let me read this. It says, in just 2 months, 4 banks in the United States have collapsed. During 1 week in March, Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and Silvergate, Silvergate Bank failed. Although their wealthy uninsured depositors were bailed out and made whole by the government, hold on. This May, First Republic Bank was the second biggest bank to go down in U.S. history and what was the largest bank collapse since the 2008 financial crisis. First Republic has also had very rich clients. About 68% of its deposits were above the federally insured limit of 250,000. 93% of Silicon Valley Bank's deposits and 90% of Signature Bank's deposits were also uninsured, yet still paid out. First Republic even gave Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg a $6 million mortgage basically for free and at just 1% interest, well below inflation. A poor person would never be given such a favorable loan, but billionaires easily do. The biggest bank in the U.S., JP Morgan Chase, was allowed to take over the First Republic Bank in blatant violation of antitrust laws. JP Morgan was given a sweetheart deal. The banking giant publicly reported that it expects to make $2.6 billion from the deal. JP Morgan does not have to pay First Republic's corporate debt, and the U.S. government's Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation agreed to bear 80% of any of its credit losses. Meanwhile, the FDIC is estimating this deal will cost $13 billion to its deposit insurance fund. That means that in just 2 months, the U.S. government-backed FDIC Deposit Insurance Fund has paid more than $35 billion to save the rich uninsured deposits at Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and now First Republic.
But it's all fake money.
Let me read some more.
Like,
It says, meanwhile, banking behemoths like JP Morgan are making billions of dollars, along with hedge fund short sellers who made at least $7 billion in profits as they speculated on the chaos in the financial system. Ironically, JP Morgan Chase was ranked by regulators as the riskiest bank in the US, but with nearly $4 trillion in assets, it is simply too big to fail. All of this shows how the US government loyally serves the interests of large banks, corporations, and the rich, who always get bailed out, while average working people struggling to feed their families and pay the mortgages owned by these banks are told to work harder and pull themselves up by their bootstraps.
see,
You
that's the
know,
part that the people don't see. They don't realize is that the country, like United States, owns these companies. Like it's, I don't really know how to explain it to them. Like I mean, if the government is making the final judgment that's going to keep them going alive and doing this or doing that, because I mean each bank is doing the bidding of the country, because like yeah they get bailed out and because the people usually lose, the the corporation, depending on what it can actually offer, you know, if it's gonna, make sure that every time that you're late on a bill, that or let's say you don't have the funds in for some bills, they're gonna hit you up. Like they're like the bank belongs to the United States. Like people still try to give it the idea that that our country is being ran as a capitalist country, but a true capitalist country, you know, is not getting held up. The corporations are not getting held up by the government, because there's enough of other companies to fill the void of when someone else messes up. It's just Chase belongs to who? The Rockefeller. I mean, J.P. Morgan Chase, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. All of that stuff goes all hand in hand.
yeah.
Like,
So, but what you said earlier about it being not real money, and that's true. but the money that they're making is actual real money, and that's how it
Well,
goes. Because it's like the Wolf of Wall Street in that movie, how they were saying that, how he was saying it's a fugazi. We walking out with cold hard cash in, the fees that we charge these people, and they don't ever get nothing. We just keep on telling them to
well,
reinvest. And
well.
if they
See,
ever ask to get their money back, then we just tell them it's gone. They lost it. We lost it.
well, well. Because I mean, we're really working on a system where it's debits and credits. Now, I mean, you can use a physical dollar to represent a credit, but overall, the idea that the bank is going to win no matter what, um, the people, therefore, you know, it's going to come up with a loss for the most
Regardless.
part. Yeah.
It's like the casino. So the banks
So
are like a casino. The house always wins.
yes, that's probably one of the better ways to explain it, because regardless of what happens, let's say you do come out with a big win, like if you're not rolling with them on the side of where the next wins will take place, you're liable to get ran over in down the road.
Right, because
So
what they're gonna do is they want you to keep spending. They'll keep you in the casino, like they make it into a maze, and really trying to get you to put the money back into the system. But if you do try to cash in and leave, who knows what the hell might happen to your ass. If it was too big of a win, you know what I mean? No
and
telling.
if you're in the game and you're gambling, just like us working, especially, I mean, like, if, me having a business, I guess I would be one of the main gamblers, um, putting everything on the line just to keep trying to keep myself afloat. And if I have a big loss, like, I mean, I'm out of luck. I mean, it just is what it is. Like, people who got salaries and who, just as long as they show up and clock in, they get a paycheck at the end of the week. But some of us, you know, we risking everything to just to survive, just to try to keep uh, money coming in, keep the circulation going. But for them, it's already set up, like and even when the cards don't fall in their hands like they planned it, they still find a way to cheat. You know what I'm saying? You still got to go to them to get the money. It's
Yep.
it's
I saw this case where this lady won a slot. She won a jackpot on the slots, and then they told
they
her,
said it was a mistake.
yeah, they said this,
Uh,
the machine malfunctioned.
yeah, I heard about that.
Man,
Like and they did not pay out,
mm-mm. They gave her a free steak dinner or some shit.
bro. I would have gave them a free steak across the eye. I would have slapped the fuck out of them with that steak. Like, I mean, bro,
And
bro.
they have that little clause, and what allows them to get out of it is on the machine. It says the machine may malfunction or something like that, and we're not liable for that or some shit like that. Like there's a little fine print that's written on the machine.
But they advertising the win. Like, did I make it malfunction? See, that's what I'm talking about right there, bro. Like, that's some BS.
That's how the game goes. You didn't win, ma'am. I'm sorry. It was a malfunction because it was like the biggest jackpot ever for that thing. It was like
Look,
the
they should have consoled that lady. They should have took her to come with us. Like, hey, look, there's no way I could do that. Like, there was a big mistake. They gonna have to give me something.
That's what she said. She was trying to sue him and stuff, but I don't think she ever got anything because
Like,
of that clause. And that's how they do. It's kind of like with the vaccinations, how they did that, how they forced everybody to take them, but then they have the clause in there. If there's any adverse effects, you can't sue us for damages.
yeah, no, I think they were making people sign their life away before they get the shots. Like, hey,
Well, they passed a law. They passed legislation that protected the
that was done back in the 90s. Like, that law has been around since the 90s. So it wasn't like they just did it. But what I'm saying is, when you went to go actually take, like, besides all of the other vaccines and things that has been existing since, it fell underneath that law. But specifically, people would go, like, they had another form outside of that they would have to, before they take the shot, they got to pretty much sign away their rights for being able to, like, they got it, like, it's I know a lot of people who still took it. So I mean, I know that what I'm saying is true. Like, they had to go and sign all kind of paperwork just to be able to take the shot. I say all. I think it was like two forms or something like that, but expressingly saying that, like, you are the one that's deciding to do this. You're not being forced or anything. Blah blah blah. All kind of other stuff.
Let me see if this video is the transcript I just read. I think it is, but let me make sure if it isn't.
In just 2 months, 4 banks in the United States have collapsed. In March,
Yeah, that's the same transcript. I read the transcript to that already.
Okay.
So no point playing the video. Oh snap!
No new comments, huh?
No. Hope nobody saw that.
I didn't see anything.
But I have to be careful with this. I clicked the wrong freaking button and it took me to the wrong damn screen. Apologies, everyone.
Well, I don't think you
Don't
were
report
sharing.
me. I think I was. I'm pretty sure I was.
I didn't see it.
I clicked off of it really quickly. Let me see this. Oh yeah, this was I meant to talk about this last night. So it says breaking: Ukraine targets Putin with drone strike on the Kremlin. Russia has accused Ukraine of attempting a drone attack on the Kremlin with the aim of killing President Putin. Russian officials said Putin was not injured and that Moscow shot down 2 drones. Let me see. The Kremlin said it reserves the right to retaliate, according to Russia's TASS media outlet. This is a breaking news story. More details to follow in the live thread below. So, I hate when they say Kremlin. Why do they call them the Kremlin? Where did that come from? It's like
That's the name of the that's like the Capitol building, or I guess like a combination of the Capitol and the White House for
it's
us.
called the Kremlin.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like it sounds like a derogatory term.
No, they named their own. They named their own thing.
Okay. Let me play this video. So this video shows, I think it shows pictures of the drone coming close to the, I think this is the, what do they call it? The palace, the place where the president is supposed to be at or whatever.
Yeah.
And it shot it down, like really close to the building.
Yeah. I heard about some of this. I didn't really get much information, but
this video is not showing it. It's a lot of videos that show the drone coming in and getting. This is like after they blew it up because you can see the smoke. But there's pictures that show it flying in and get shot down. I think it was more than one drone. Let me see. What do they have on the thread? Maybe they have some more on the thread. I know I posted some more about this on here. Let's read it. It says, updates. Russian state news has reported that Putin was not present at the Kremlin during the attempted drone strike. Furthermore, the 2 unmanned aerial vehicles were intercepted by air defense and no casualties or material damage have been reported. Kremlin spokesman, President Putin's working schedule has not been affected and will continue as usual. I don't know whether this is a legitimate attack on Putin or a false flag operation to warrant a Russian escalation in Ukraine. If this is a legitimate Ukrainian attack on Putin, this is extremely concerning and could lead to a very serious escalation by Russia. Putin's life should not be in danger. Otherwise, we may risk a nuclear escalation. If this is a false flag operation to frame Ukraine, it is still concerning as as it means Russia is preparing to escalate. I hope this does not lead to the use of tactical nuclear weapons, which I doubt. We will keep updating the story here. And I saw later that some people said that it was the U.S. who did it. It wasn't the Ukraine. It wasn't Ukraine.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's the
I guess
same
it
intent.
doesn't.
I mean, regardless of where it came from, I mean, this is all in the act to bring that. Like, who you think wants Putin going more?
Yeah, but they had to know that it wasn't going to work just trying to fly in some drones. And then he wasn't even there anyways. And it seems like the whole point of it was just to escalate the situation, to just cause more
Well,
tension.
well, they see. They people been saying that Ukraine is winning and this, that, and the other, which is somewhat hard to believe for me. I mean, I could be wrong, of course, but I think that because of the weakening of that side of Ukraine, they're trying to do certain things that's gonna somewhat escalate it so that it could either be a reason for other forces to come in and help, or to just try to end it altogether. But it's no way that just because if they get rid of Putin, like that's bro, those people are behind him 100, at least 90%, 95%. Like there may be some people that don't agree, but for the most part, like those people just don't pick up where it's leaving off at, and they're gonna probably act way worse than him than Putin. Like
So
if it comes down to the general and somebody knocking off his president, um, yeah, it's gonna become ugly.
we got Deuce. What up, Deuce?
Deuce, deuce.
Let me read this right quick. It says, 2 Ukrainian drones were flown toward the Kremlin overnight, Russia claims. 2 drones were flown toward the Kremlin last night, according to the Kremlin press service. President Vladimir Putin was not at the Kremlin at the time, spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has said. No one was injured as a result of their fall and the scattering of fragments, state media RIA Novosti reported. A social media video appears to show some smoke in the vicinity of the Kremlin, but it is unclear what the source of the smoke is. The Kremlin press service called the drone attack an attempt on the president's life and a terrorist act. Russia reserves the right to take retaliatory measures where and when it sees fit.
What? Say, bro, look, that statement right there, because I mean, you know, I think one of the things that they would hope for is that he would, be so pissed off that he, tries to retaliate immediately. And I mean, he's way too tactful for that. Like, I mean, bro, this is somebody who was feet on the ground at one time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he done seen it from all the different angles. He ain't crazy, bro.
We got another video. I'm going to play it. This one, it says, update. Press Secretary of the President of Ukraine, Sergei Nikiforov, said that Kyiv was not involved in the drone attack on the Kremlin. According to him, Kyiv has no information about night attacks on the Kremlin. Nikiforov claims that what happened is an exacerbation of the situation before May 9th. The involvement of Kyiv in the incident is also denied by the advisor to the head of the office of Ukrainian President, Mikhail Podolyak. Below is another video of the drone attack. So Ukraine is saying that Ukraine is saying that they weren't involved. So, maybe they weren't, or maybe they're just not being honest about it, and then maybe they're trying to say that Russia is doing this themselves to do like a false flag as an excuse for escalation.
Well, I mean that. Hey, I would say that he is smart enough to try to pull something off like that. I mean, if that's the point of the war that he's at, and it's not like things haven't happened like that towards him. or there's things that has because I mean they blew up his the pipeline. I mean they've done different things that were supposed to you know push him over the edge a few times already. So, um, so I mean, I won't put it past him. I mean, it's definitely possible, but I mean, we can definitely say that it's also possible that Ukraine did do it, or someone acting for Ukraine did it. Some one way or another, somebody is trying to push that issue. So
So here's the U.S. It says updates. As expected, the U.S. is unaware of the Kremlin drone and is treating the reports with skepticism. U.S. official: we are looking into the report about drone strike on Kremlin, but aren't able to confirm it or validate its authenticity. Blinken: we take everything coming out of the Kremlin with a great deal of skepticism and will wait for the facts to emerge before commenting on the Russian novel. Let's read a couple comments. It says, so what we have here is one of two things: a false flag or an attack. The result is the same. It doesn't really matter who. There could be any number of possibilities, like a third party taking advantage of the current climate. The result is still the same: escalation of the war.
yep.
I think that
That
comment is very
I,
good.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That's all it is. I
Yeah,
think that's
so
that's kind of what I was trying to say, but they said it much better than I.
yeah, so so like he said, it could be a third party. That was something we haven't mentioned yet. Somebody that's is not Ukraine, not the United States, and not Russia. Just another person.
Well, I mean, when we're talking about it, I mean, we're not acting as United States. We're acting as NATO, which is a part of it. So, I mean, it could be any one of those forces. I mean, unless we're really thinking like, China, like, look, let's go and get this going, and they sent something in to make it look. I mean, I don't know. They're partnered up. We don't. We It could be. I mean, you think it's somebody like Venezuela or
It could just
South Africa.
it
Somebody
could just
that's
be an individual.
throwing up drone strikes. Really, bro? Like individuals got that kind of firepower?
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, if you got enough money to buy it, there's lots of rich people out there.
Well, I hear what you're saying. Um, but ultimately, you got to be doing it for a certain, in a certain position. Whether it was done or not, like they are either for, like it's Russian, somebody individual in Russia or from Russia doing it to try to make it look like it's Ukraine or U.S. or whoever has done this thing. Because, like I said, looks like there was this video showing that it actually happened. Um, so
Let me read this one. It says, Evgeny Prigozhin on the drone attack on the Kremlin. As a radical person, I can say that the use of nuclear weapons in response to a drone, of course, is out of the question. First of all, it is necessary on the rack of the one who is responsible for the fight against the drones to figure out how this could happen in principle. And after that, make every effort to ensure that we become the leading power in the development of UAV technologies and respond with exactly the same drones. And so we look like clowns who threaten a vigorous bomb on a children's drone. I think that makes a lot of sense too, saying because the comments earlier was saying that this could lead to a nuclear escalation, and this
yeah, no,
guy,
I don't think it's gonna go that far. Like I said, I mean, he's way more tactful than that to just, I mean, you look at his demeanor, like, you could tell a lot of times he's pissed off, but he still keeps that same face.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like he, so I mean, he's a hell of a
shit.
poker player. Um, I'm sure he could play poker and what's the other one? Shit, I can't think of it right now. My mind's went blank. But either way, I don't think that he would just turn around and retaliate with the biggest thing possible. Like that's one of those things that he has to pray himself off of all the time. Like, you know, Lord, don't let me, go too far too fast. Like, because I mean, with great power, comes great respect. I mean, it, I'm more afraid that there's other parties that would jump to do that he before Putin.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one reason why Zelensky does not have nukes is because they know his temperament. Like he's not responsible enough to be able to have that kind of power. Like he would. I think based on what I see of him, he just might try to do that. Like
Yeah.
he's worse than Trump as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised if that guy did something like that as far as if he had the capabilities.
Yeah.
So, the United States, the weapons that they've been giving them, they have been softening them. I was reading something about that, and it was like these anti-air missiles or these ballistic continental to continental missiles or whatever. They were
I know.
lowering the capabilities of them so that they wouldn't be able to strike, right all the way into Russia. You get what I'm saying? Because they didn't.
An ICBM. Does he even really need one of those for that close range? Like, I mean,
Well, it's
Scuds,
far.
and
It's farther than it looks. Um, to
yeah, but bro, those things got to be driven out by like only one truck can carry uh that one missile.
Yeah.
Uh, I I promise you, when that thing gets pulled, like it's oversized, bro. Like I mean, it's like
Yeah, you talk about nuclear weapons. I'm not talking
I,
about that.
no,
I'm
no, 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 no.
re-
Because see the thing it's the same weapon. It's just that it can be armed with nuclear ammo, so it can be used as just like a regular missile, but it's like it's overkill.
yeah, but it's about how far they could go. And the how far it has to go has to do with the guiding systems that they have.
Yeah,
The way it gets flown. So that's what they lowered the capabilities of them to have, so that they couldn't do these long range missile strikes. So they gave them like the same equipment that would be capable of doing that, but they didn't give them like the software
well,
to be able to do it long
well, I'm
range.
gonna tell you. I mean, because I'm assuming that because of the alliances that Russia has made with China, and all of the different bases and ports and things that China has invested in or totally purchased in the Western Hemisphere, like they have access, like they've shipped all like ammunition from all over, so it doesn't have to be long range. So
Uh, Let me see. Let's play this one. It says, I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble for this. I didn't listen to this earlier. Hope he doesn't say anything too crazy, but it says, leading advisor to the World Economic Forum, Yuval Noah Harari, suggested that the totalitarian restrictions implemented in response to the scandemic, including stopping all flights and locking down entire countries, will make people more open to radical ideas about how to deal with climate change. Let me see. Let's play
Didn't
this.
outline them as a prophecy. Many of the scenarios that I outlined before the pandemic, I didn't outline.
What the hell?
Them as a prophecy, but just as a possibility. Maybe it will happen. It's not an extremely deadly virus. It's not the Black Death. And look what it's doing to the world. So now just try to think what will be the implications of a much bigger problem like climate change. Also, conceptually, it shows that, and here I completely agree with you, Ratko, that it shows you that you can change things on a massive scale. That, and again, you can stop all flights. You can lock down entire countries. You can actually do that. And life goes on in some way. And this, I would say, may make us more open to radical ideas about how to deal also with climate change.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I had to. My stuff was tripping. Well, and that's something that that's another elephant that's been roaming the forest. May not be in the middle of the room yet, but I mean, and that's one of the things that they've been attacking too on social media is making claims of misinformation, but no true reason, because for the people who are gonna just be like, oh, that's just some BS because they said it is, aren't gonna really listen to other dissenting voices. Like they're gonna other scientists who studied and practiced this for just as long as these people, if not longer, and has a different perspective on how it look, how on how accurate the information is on either side, and or why one side doesn't make sense and the other side does. Like they don't really get into that. They just said, well, Papa said it's global warming, but I know it's mighty cool. But he said it was warm. We're gonna have those people. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna look at the true science. Like science doesn't matter to this generation.
Let me read some comments. It says, what is he saying? That the COVID experiment was successful? Another comment, it says, those who are awake to the pandemic and see the tyranny cannot unsee what they have witnessed.
Exactly.
Another comment, it says, I have news for Harari. The draconian measures that stripped me of my rights and freedoms radicalized me, made me contemplate the role of faraway rulers in my life, reminded myself they work for me, not me for them. Another comment, it says, Yuval wrote Homo Deus in 2016 before the pandemic. What was he saying in the book? What patterns did he see? And what ended up transpiring? How long has he been advising the WEF? Did they get him in to advise because he is clued up on what's really going on to happen to us? Hold on. To us all? Read the book and find out COVID was a practice run for bigger things on the horizon.
Yeah, that's the scary part. Because some people are saying that prepare for 2025, which I don't know. They've even given a name for it too, because that's what they're saying to prepare for. Some SEERS, Sears or whatever. But if there's different things going around already about that, just like this that's going on with this previous pandemic. Even if it's an epidemic or whatever, the pandemic or epidemic, either way, however it spreads, or if this was the practice run, this was not, this definitely wasn't what they were really setting up for, because, but even though they, based on some numbers, that worldwide, 1 billion people are already gone.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, whether it's from the sickness or the cure, whichever one, our total, we're looking at 1 billion people gone.
Crazy.
We spent $8 trillion in the war in Iraq.
Let me play this right quick. And I'm probably gonna have to wrap it soon. Hold on.
We spent $8 trillion in the war in Iraq. $8 trillion, and we got nothing for it.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. That's nuts.
In fact, we got worse than nothing. We killed more Iraqis than Saddam Hussein. We killed 1 million Iraqis, probably. We created ISIS. We turned Iraq into a proxy for Iran, which is exactly what we've been not trying to do for 40 years. And we drove 2 million refugees with the Iraq war and its aftermath, Syria and Yemen and Pakistan and Afghanistan. 2 million refugees in Europe, destabilized democracy in Europe. Then we go ahead, so $8 trillion there. We spent $16 trillion on the pandemic, on the lockdown, and it got nothing in return. So that's $24 trillion, and now we're doing bank bailouts every couple of months. The Silicon Valley Bank, the Fed said that it was printing $300 billion for that, made up for all of the deflationary steps that the Biden administration had previously taken. You go to an American who's been working their whole life, has been promised at the end of the life that they're going to get a few bucks every month. And, I have a friend who I brought to my speech with me who during the same month that we committed another $750 million during March. We sent $750 million extra to the Ukraine. We cut 15 million Americans from Medicare. My friend got a call from the government on his cell phone, a recorded call saying that your food stamps have just been cut by 90%. He went from $283 a month to $25 a month. So you try to feed yourself on $25 a month. There are 30 million Americans who are starving right now. And that to me is unacceptable. And it's hard to go to people like that, people who have been honest, who have played by the rules, who have done everything that they were supposed to do with the promise that they would be taken care of, that their health care would be taken care of in old age. You go to those people and say, okay, now we're going to cut your food stamps and try to feed yourself on $25 a month. Try to feed yourself for $25 a week. We're telling them that.
Shit, a day. That's one meal for a lot of people. That's lunch. $25.
Especially with the prices the way they are. Go ahead, I'll be right back.
Bro, shit. I mean, even if you go the cheap route, it's gonna cost you like what, $12 for lunch, like $25, unless even going to the grocery store and trying to buy some I don't know what, ramen noodles. I mean, getting you a pack of ramen noodles for every day. I mean, that's the only way. That $25, and that's gonna cut it tight. You still gonna have to fast a couple of days, even with that.
Yeah, but just think about how unhealthy ramen noodles are. That shit
No,
graveyard dead.
well, it will. I already know that. But what I'm saying is, what is actually affordable? Something the shit that's gonna kill you.
Yeah. But it's just it's to me it's sad what they doing to the American public, bro.
Man, say, bro.
Where's all those people at that was jumping up and down in their seat when Biden told them, "You're not black if you don't vote for me"? Where them motherfuckers at?
They over there standing proud as hell, not even seeing what's happening in front of them. Like all they know is that they're under the same fear campaign that they've been under for the last few decades, and the only way they end up voting against their own interests because they've been programmed not to see everything that's going on around them. Like me and Chaka was talking about last night was Like a lot of them are programmed with the church. Like it's blasphemous for you to even give any time to the other side to hear what they actually saying for yourself, because we're telling you what they're doing. Like you ain't got to hear what they got to say. Like I'm telling you what they're doing, and most of them shut the hell up and they just listen instead of actually going to hear from themselves. You know, the angle, the point of view in which they're coming from, and having maybe a different perspective for themselves, and like that's too much like right.
Yeah.
You know, do they have it all right? No, I mean, I don't think that we're at that time in our life in this period of history, what we can call history, to be able to say that we're in a position to have everything right. But because I mean, we're so far apart as just a public, like, bro, like the government has been winning, bro. Like the media, like the propaganda has people so screwed up. Um, like I mean, I know I don't even know. I'm sure, like I don't know everything, but I know that I do at least give both sides a chance, not to already just say that one of them is a demon, an enemy, and to carry that for years on end. No, every year, I'm reassessing day to day. I'm looking at the changes, because like now, like there's actually a Democratic candidate that I'll actually support. You know,
Yeah.
it, for a long time, I didn't think that that was even going to happen again in my lifetime. That somebody on the other side is actually, speaking more like an American than, you know, what we mostly hear. Because like everybody else is along with the agenda, this guy, if he is along with the agenda, he's definitely taking a totally different approach.
Yeah. You talking about Kennedy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir. That
Yeah.
is. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. It's just like right now. Like I was thinking about that shit. Was at my after my son game, we went to the went and ate with a couple of the parents from his team. And
Mhm.
one of the dads, he's a fire chief for Houston. He
Mhm.
was talking about, one of the things that they're not talking about, that the media not talking about. They keep bringing up Ukraine, but they're not talking about how China is damn near on the brink of invading Taiwan. And if that happens, that's pretty much World War III. But America won't be able to join in on it.
Well, I'm connected with different news all around the world, so I have, and I mean, it's not like one of those one of the biggest things that they're talking about, but it has been spoken of. Like that was like 2 weeks ago, the first time I heard it. So, but I'm sure that that's been in motion, because I mean, just like with because just like Russia, like I mean, if they don't make a move, because right now his offense is his defense. By him taking the stance he took was what really put him in a better defensive stance than if he would have waited for Ukraine to make a move. You know what I'm saying? So I think China might be looking at it the same way, because if they don't get boots on the ground in Taiwan soon, they will, they're going to give enough time for the U.S. to do it, to get people stationed there, and already ready and in position to do, to. I mean, shoot, just honestly, like I've been really debating, like this, like all this stuff could just be international world theater. Like I have to ask myself that, because like all the stuff that they're saying about Ukraine and Russia, China and Taiwan. I mean, that might be things that we'll never really see physically. We'll see stuff on TV, but do we ever know if that really happens? And then the winner is decided already. Like that, it's just a matter of them getting selling us on, that this is really happened.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. This is it's. I hate being a conspiracy theorist to some extent. I mean, I do, and, it makes me definitely look at a lot of different angles, but I don't trust any of it.
Yeah. 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 Don't know what to trust right now, man. You know.
I mean, when the Vatican comes out and tells us, this was like last year, like months. This was months ago, that you know the Pope, I think, before he died, he said that the Nazis won the war, and they the ones that has been controlling our country since the mid 1940s. So like you hear that, and this is somebody who was a part of he was a part of that. They also were backing out of a lot of the things that the criminal activities that the
I have
Vatican was a
watermelon. I
part
also
of
have
for
chicken
hundreds of years. They've been backing
and
out, reeling
some
back out of that, and then they
fried
start
rice
making
also.
statements like this because they really know the history. Like they're trying to absolve themselves to some extent and telling us that
I
the
turned
Nazis
the back
actually
eye
won.
on and I put that
Yeah.
So
thing on it.
it's just one of those things that you just got to really kind of take into account the possibility is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doc, I didn't see you come in the house, man. You wipe your feet before you come in, or you plan on leaving
I
some
got
tracks everywhere?
I got my shoes off.
Okay.
That way if I bring it, I step in it too.
All right, man. You doing all right, bro?
Hey, I am awake and I am here. Everything other than that is still up for negotiation.
I hear that. I
Any
hear
day
that.
above ground is a good day.
Hey, it all starts out really good, and we step off the side of the bed and we realize that gravity sucks.
And time ravages us all.
Oh,
Hey
time is a harsh
man.
mistress. Any woman will tell you that.
Hey, I just want to let you know, brother Pat, your boy done took the first step in arming himself. I went out and bought me a little tool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting on my background to come back, but yeah,
Hey,
So
I just started out.
you should have bought two and dropped one off with my home girl. Um, damn, what I forget what Chaka. What's your oldest daughter name?
Naya. Yeah.
Somebody in the house need to have that iron.
So all this talk about gun control made you want to go buy a gun, huh?
Yeah, and I don't plan on stopping there. But this one here is a nice it's a P365 9 millimeter six hour. It's a compact. You won't even know I got it on me. But I'm not stopping there. My next one I'm looking at getting is
Ain't it amazing? Ain't it
It's
amazing what they can put into a nine
dude. It's
millimeter?
now it sounds like he's talking about tattoos.
What
Well,
kind
I
of
already got
bullets?
this one, man, and my next one's going to be this one, and I'm gonna get this one right
my
over
next one.
here,
My next one
Look,
gonna be a
and this one means
M400.
this,
Hey,
and there's
look
a
Doc,
here.
story behind this one.
My next one
Doc,
gonna be a
that
M400 5.56 NATO
look
AR-15.
that description he was given reminded me of don't drink juice in the hood when he had his Air Forces with the Uzi and trying to see which one looked best.
Dude, when I used to be strapped up completely armed, I had 3 pistols, 12 throwing knives, and a belt that I could use to clamp and tie people with.
Yeah.
And that wasn't all I had on me. And that
Well, I
was,
mean,
I could
were
walk
you a
past
security
you.
guard for somebody?
I could walk past you. I could stand next to you, and you would never know I was armed.
Well, that's how I am. Nobody never knows like I'm really legit packing. I mean, that's the reason for me to keep. I'm being concealed because I don't want it to be.
And yeah, I did work private security for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's
Because
just
everything that you said, everything that you just said, just made me feel like, okay, yeah, he took some tactical training somewhere.
There, like I said, there's stuff I'd love to talk about, stuff that I know, but I have some NDAs that I cannot break them.
Nah, it's all good.
They're with
I don't ask those
the
type of
NDA,
questions.
the gag order is law enforcement, so
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times I don't want to know a lot of that stuff anyway. Uh-oh.
No, it's not no nicotine. I asked the lady to give me a no nicotine
We,
one.
we can't mute him, huh?
only he can mute any other one unless you've got
Well,
unless you've got co-command in here.
Yeah, I could have, but I never signed signed up the thing. I just continue coming in as a guest.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've even got different things that go in with, depending upon which I've got a different entry portal with each browser.
Yeah.
I had to get ahead of those hacks, man.
What?
Remember,
you believe in that?
When I first got on here, I got hacked 2 or 3 times for this on the show, and people leave notes about some of the stuff I said. So that's why I've got that's. Oh man, that's something we need to talk about. This TikTok bill thing going on. It's not just TikTok, man. They're talking about fining people seriously in jail time for using VPNs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what that's about?
Yeah, not wanting them to trick the thing so you get any news or sites that are outside of the approved U.S. Sites.
Well, you know what? That sounds like a good reason. That sounds like a good reason. So I'm gonna add that to the list. But I think it's also because a lot of, I mean, I don't do it myself, but a lot of people, that's how they purchase their crypto is with them pretending
using the
to
VPN,
be yeah.
It basically all it does is mask the location your computer's in. Any hacker half worth their salt can still find you. It does not protect you.
But they have to be looking for you, though, right?
Right, they have to be looking. But with this bill, now, mind you, I don't have all the details. I've just seen a couple of things on it, and I haven't actually. I've only read one page of it right now, but they're talking about they have the ability to access any and all communications networks that are hooked up to certain networks, including Wi-Fi, and if your Wi-Fi is hooked up to, say, a fiber optic network, they have permission to examine anything connected to the fiber optic network all the way to its endpoint.
That's not new.
It's new that they're going that they are allowed to do it. Being able to, they've always been, but being allowed to now, they now have permission to do it instead of just being able.
Who gave them permission?
This new bill, this new TikTok bill thing going on where they're trying to ban TikTok. It also changes up a whole lot of stuff about the internet. I'll find a couple of things on it and drop them on
people
the
say, bro,
group.
it really bothers me that people still think that we that we're not on a republic or democracy. This is like this is more like it's hidden because most people believe that we're still in a what they consider to be a democracy, but bro, it's already totalitarianism.
Dude, we've been in a surveillance state. They started setting up the surveillance state in the 70s and early and mid 80s. Back when I was in high school, because that's when they started cameraing up all of our big cities. That's when they started linking together a bunch of stuff. The whole, what part of the whole reason, who's using the non-digital airwaves right now, the ones that we used to broadcast TV and stuff on? What are those satellites being used for now? Because they don't have the technology to access the same for
Well,
anything over 2G. They can't get into any pure digital network. So it's like, who's doing that?
That's a good question, and because I mean, I guess to some extent, I look at that as being where all of that stuff was just upgraded, and like what was at the time was like it expanded the ability for those waves to go further and faster. So, like it's to me the same technology that they just
But
instead of
see,
using metal, using the metal like they got gold and copper to run it so that all this stuff can actually run faster.
absolutely, it does speed up everything and stuff like that. But I'm talking about the everything is on digital frequencies now. What happened? What are they doing with, and what happened to the old analog network that we used to watch TV and everything on?
Well,
When we
that's
had to have those big old birdcage jungle gym looking antennas way up there at the top, or you couldn't get any channel.
so. Are you saying that because of what's existing now, that they have no access to a 2G wave because 5G exists now?
No, I don't know where you're getting that from. I'm saying
Because
that
I
the
mean,
old the
because
old analog network can't travel at anything faster than 2G speed or so.
well, that's what I'm saying. It all updated,
No,
like
no, we're
anything, but
talking all the G's will work with the new G that's out. It just doesn't. It's just going to be trucking slow. I'm talking about back when 44 BB split the digital and analog networks to where they were no longer allowed to broadcast on the TV stations had to go to digital broadcasting instead of analog, because they said that they were going to use the analog system for something else or another, and I've really not heard much about it since then. So
yeah.
I'm wondering, what are they using that analog system for?
Well, I know that from
That
time to
analog
time,
system is what your CB used to work on too.
that's what I'm about to tell you because I have one. So I mean, um,
But is it
no,
a digital signal now, or is it still an analog signal?
well, I mean, I think it's. I mean, like that's the whole thing I was saying about the technology of it. I mean, like I think it still rides those same waves. It's just that whichever one that you're tapping into is what you access. Like the ability for because I mean, all of the technology is not in the signal that where you get it from. It's also in the product that you're using.
Well, no, analog and digital are mutually exclusive from each other in their use. You can't do anything over the amount of information of, say, basic TV cannot go over the analog network.
It could. Let's see, listen to me. It could because I don't know if you remember when we had the 720p televisions. A lot of them still had the regular fiber, like the thing that you screw in on the back of the TV to get cable. You could still like even though
But
everything was
that
running through
that was the
a
beginning of the digital age, though.
what no.
That's a digital signal going through the cable. It's not.
But the only thing that's stopping that is the port to be able to use it. So all of it has just been upgraded with the fiber optics, the better wires. That's the only thing that's stopping. Like it's that same wave. It's just that
private
it's
private people, private communications, all the stuff. They were told that's why everybody had to go out and get digital antennas because nothing was going to be broadcasting on the analog wavelengths anymore.
I hear what you're saying.
It's kind of like the first 3 satellite networks that were put up are supposedly not working, yet all of the satellites are still up spinning around in the formations. So
Yeah, but
they
they're still
can be
using.
used.
But they are being used, and like I said, that's it's the same signal. The reason why
It's not.
the quality is different because of the products that you're using now. Because it was upgraded with better wires and technology than what was there before.
I
Like
still think you don't understand that there's a
it's still
difference between digital and analog. Analog is airwaves, and
all of it is
digital is
airwaves.
electronic. No,
All of it is airwaves, bro. How you
it
rate
is one.
your rate when you was
The
listening to
it
the
is
radio?
it converts to a digital signal now, not an analog signal. The analog network has,
But
according to the government, been placed offline.
I hear what you're saying, but the only difference because it's the same waves. Even the Wi-Fi is carrying through the same technology. It's just that it's at a higher
It's
level. The
not
hertz
the
is
same
higher.
technology.
It very much is.
Analog and
They didn't
digital
have
is not the same technology.
they did they did not recreate the television and the radio and all that. All they did was upgraded it with better
It's a
wires, things
different
that would
way of
make it
It's a different way of modulating the signal.
okay. It's the same technology, just at a higher level. That's all it is.
Let
I
me jump in
promise you.
there. Freaking,
That's like saying a cable telephone and 5G satellite are the exact same technology.
It's
A straight
it's
plug-in,
it's
it is different. One is wired, one is not wired. They are different.
let me jump in there. Before I go, because I got company, so I'm gonna have to go. But let's cover one thing right quick. This is Hillary Clinton talking. I'm sure y'all can sink your teeth into this. It says the gangsterism of sending a message to the world through war. It's a habitual phrase of the Anglo elite. I know it's their way of inhabiting a world always in need of their message. In other societies, only low life speak like this in public, but democracy. So it says Crystal Freeland tells Hillary Clinton, I agree with you, Madam Secretary, that the single strongest message of deterrence we can send to China is a decisive Ukrainian victory.
Brag on the sanctions front. Canada was the first country. Now, I agree with you, Madam Secretary, that the single strongest message of deterrence we can send to China is a decisive Ukrainian victory. That is something. That is the message that says to all the world's dictators, you know what? Democracy is prepared to fight back, and democracy can actually win. And I do have to do a little small Canadian brag on the sanctions front. Canada was the first country. Now,
we need more people to understand that U.S. is just a satellite government. Like, but go ahead.
I was gonna say they didn't let Hillary Clinton talk, but she said the same thing. So old girl was just parroting what Hillary had said.
Yeah. You know, I I don't think it says too much. I mean, I don't think it says anything different than what they but like what I mean, because even though they're losing, I mean, I guess maybe it would make. Well, is China supposed to be afraid now? Like they're not going to protect their interests now because of that, because of the the win of Ukraine, if that was to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess China is shaking in their boots right now if Ukraine falls.
Yeah, like they're really thinking about, well, shit, is they wondering if it's too late to turn around. Like, hey, U.S., can we be friends again? Like, I didn't really think this out.
Yeah,
I don't really, I'm, I don't get it.
I don't get it either. It don't really make sense. It's crazy talk.
Yeah,
Uh, Let me do this one other one, and this will be the last one because there was a story earlier where it was a chick who the teacher tried to take her phone from her, and then she started punching the teacher in the face, and the teacher like got on top of her and started holding her down like or
this is
whatever.
a month. This is like a month old now, right?
Right, that's the old one. But here's another one. This one is the teacher took the kid's phone and she pepper sprayed him.
Oh, Mace? Nah, Mace is crazy.
Nah, Mace is crazy.
Nah, she just faced it. Nah.
Nah, I gotta go. Hold on.
Nah. No.
She just pepper sprayed me. Give me my phone. Give me my phone. Ah! God, wait. Can I get my phone? Can I get my phone? I need my phone.
Over the phone is crazy.
I need my phone.
Look at this nigga.
What?
Okay, give me my phone. She said, okay. Can I get my phone? No, you can't have your phone.
Watch out, man. I'm going in. Watch out.
I need my phone. I need to get my phone. That's my phone. Can I get my phone?
So these kids are all the way out of control. As a teacher, I get it, them disrupting the class with the phone. And from the student point of view, I kind of get it as far as them being kind of, messed up about not having their phone. But going to the point of fighting the teacher or pepper spraying the teacher because they took your phone is all the way out of control. And
Bro, when we was in school, they took our shit, and you had to have an adult come up there and get it. They take their phone while they're in class, and they give it back at the end of the day. By law, they cannot take it and keep it. They give it back at the end of the day. So there's no excuse for the disrespect and for her to do that. That's assault, bro. She need to have charges filed against her, and she need to fucking see what jail feels like and spend
Yeah.
time down there. That's disrespect, bro. Like, these people are already underpaid. They're having to be not only teachers but raise fucking children.
Yeah. I'm
It's
with you, bro.
bullshit,
Because see, but that's why I said a strong message with my son is like, look, don't don't take your phone out of school. You got it. That's mostly for emergency. Something happened, hey, use it. But other than that, that shit's in your backpack until you get on the bus. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the things is that, the parent, because in case like this, I blame the parent. They're the ones who's responsible for their children and how they act.
Yeah. So where are the parents on these topics? They let their children just behave like this?
Do you actually think that parent has control of that child?
Probably not.
No, they don't. But it's still their fault that they don't.
They may have control, but if you see the way that the parents act,
she's not gonna.
When child get in trouble, how they come up to the school acting with the staff.
Oh yeah, a chick like that is just wait till my mama shows up. You think I'm bad?
Yeah, and but at the same time, like, because I can relate to that kind of thing to some extent, because if something happened with my son at school, like, especially with the influence I know I have on him, that if I had to go there for some bullshit, like, I'm on his side, because he know, like, I'm gonna bust his ass if it's on some bullshit. Like, if I'm up there trying to defend him and he hadn't done what he was supposed to, because I will like I will act a fool if it come down to it. I'm coming to protect my child, my son. But he already knows too, like his shit, and I'm not even the crazy one. His mama the fool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit. I know I'm halfway crazy, but shit, she 3/4. So, but yeah, I think that something like that has to definitely come back with the parent, because, and then even with the like her spraying that shit in people's eyes, like that's dangerous. I mean, not just for the teacher, but for the other students. Like, I don't care how good your aim is, that shit is floating through the air afterwards. Like, everybody's eyes is gonna be irritated once it sprays.
And your sinuses. That shit make you drip mucus like no. I've been gassed before because I worked at the prison. I had to go through that shit when I recertified. That
Yeah.
shit there burns your eyes. You dropping mucus falling out your nose. Like that shit horrible, bro.
Man, I accidentally sprayed myself when it was still mace. Because nowadays it's pepper spray and it burn, like, it's got more of a burning sensation than and bro, like, I was suffering, like, it was bad.
I sprayed
So
that shit in the sink one time, and it was like, I think it was the mace too. It was a lot of years ago because I just wanted to. I don't know. I'm stupid. I just curious.
yeah, it was a fucking kid. Yeah.
I sprayed it in the sink, and oh my god, bro, it was the worst decision I ever made. And you try to turn the water on just to wash it down, and it made it worse. It made it come out and fill up the whole ass apartment.
Yeah, exactly.
We had to open all the doors and windows and go outside for a while.
But no, but just think, the oxygen makes that happen to it, period. I mean, the water probably may have multiplied it even over the oxygen, but still, just the more air that there is, the more that it kind of expands. And, like, not only would your eyes start burning, but it can be hard to breathe.
Yeah, that's what it did. It started choking me out, and I couldn't breathe. I had to go outside.
Yeah,
I didn't even spray it directly on me. I sprayed it in the sink.
I know, and the shit. So that lets you know, this shit, it sprayed directly on me, like on the side of my, like on one of my cheeks. It wasn't in my eye, but it was like on one of my cheeks. So, but it was close enough.
Yeah, just spraying it in the sink made my eyes burn, my throat burn, and was choking me out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, these kids are all the way out of control. I don't know what to do about it. It's like the degradation of society, man.
Say, man, we really, like, I think we're getting away from, even like the Christians or whatever. A lot of us, a lot of people are getting away from our spirituality to where, like, I don't think we're praying the way that we used to, or even like the generations before us that was here, like the time that was spent in prayer, or heavy concentration on, trying to make a difference through the spiritual realm. So
I
I
think a
think
big
that's
part of
something
it is personal accountability. I think that people just don't feel like they have any personal accountability for their actions. Like they're never wrong. They can't admit when they're wrong.
well, I mean, we were talking
They're
about
selfish.
how the people who are actually doing wrong are the ones that's getting punished.
Right.
Like, so it's almost
what
like the
example?
part of the culture now.
Yeah, it's a part of the
So
culture. So, what example as a culture, are we setting for the children when we as adults don't accept personal accountability? We won't admit when we're wrong. We're so selfish. We only look at things through our own personal perspective all the time. That's what she
yeah.
was doing. She's like, all I want is my phone. Like, I need my phone. Like, I need my phone. Give me my phone. Like, it's all about me, and that's it. Like, and the way people drive in traffic is that behavior. The way people act at work and in the world is that behavior of it's just all about me, and nothing else matters but me. And I'm never
Well,
wrong.
well,
So I'm
I
not
don't.
gonna
You know,
say that I'm wrong.
one of the things that I've been like campaigning on my Facebook, like different places of social media, is that the identity politics has screwed up everything. Like, I mean, it started off, of course, black and white. Then, black and woman, every time we're piling on top, man and woman. Oh, well, it may have been religion first. Religion, then the black and white. Then we got into male, female. Then it's the religions. Like I
Transgender,
mean, yeah,
straight,
all the multiples,
Republican,
the
Democrat,
multiple sections. Yes, politically, like
left, right,
there's like
rich,
split in
poor,
so was split in so many different ways, and like anybody that studied this knows that this was a plan. Like you can see it playing all the way out. Like
divide
this
and
is
conquer.
to a T. This is the fascist regime. And like for me, it's foolish for me to even try to point the finger at one side or the other. But I do have to tell people that if you are picking one side, you're part of the problem because you're not seeing that there's a whole problem. Like it's
Right.
like I said, that there's people who are on both sides that's playing those that they can, that follows them.
Right. And
So
these corporations don't care about nationality or a nationalism.
hell no,
They don't care about left or
bro.
right or Republican
It's
or
classic,
Democrat.
bro.
They
It's
don't
classism when it comes to them.
they don't care about straight or gay. They don't care about none of that shit. They just making money and they playing both ends against the middle and they're winning.
Well, there's a group that feels that the rest of the world is supposed to be their slaves, and I don't think that they feel that they should. They feel that uh, not many it should. Only who they choose should be able to replenish themselves as a people, and we really got to be careful about some of these laws because I think overall, if an adult chooses to do that, you have every right to make that decision. But trying to do that to the children too early and having an androgynous generation to where like really nobody can reproduce, like is that really what we're looking for?
That's the end of humanity.
Well, why do you think we got all those immigrants coming in for? That way they can breed the white people out.
Mm. I
Well,
don't know whose agenda that would be.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think worldwide. I mean, because they are shooting for the world agenda, so they expect that if they're setting up the next generation, that's gonna they want to be able to choose who's gonna take their place. So I would
Well, as
say
long as they
that.
have that same ideology, then
Well,
it
that's the
don't
thing.
matter.
I mean, even white men are gotten to the point to where, like, if they can reproduce with a black woman, at least they have some of their blood left behind. That, you know.
I think it's not the blood. I think it's more of the ideology,
What
the
what it
culture.
Well, it is that too. I mean, I think naturally men want to leave their DNA behind somewhere, regardless of how they do it. Because I mean, even black men, they do, same. They when they couldn't get with a good black woman, they find somebody of another race,
Yeah.
and
But
they're gonna.
overall, it's about the culture because a dominant culture wants to continue to be dominant. And it doesn't matter who the people are as long as the culture is the same. So then they get to
Yeah.
continue to rule.
Well, I still think it's bullshit to for you to. I mean, look, if you I don't know if I would do the same thing if that was the case. If I'm dying out, I mean, I would assume that I'm just dead. I mean, I only have one son anyway, so I mean, hopefully he's able to continue the bloodline. But I mean, what can I do?
I already know my family line ends. My son
Yeah.
don't want to have nothing to do with kids, and there ain't no one but him to do it.
Yeah. Well, I got 3 kids, so hopefully I get to keep going. And 2 of them are girls, so I guess I got a better chance than y'all.
Hey, you know what? As long as your daughters have kids, at least you won't have to worry about whether or not they carry your blood.
Yeah. Hopefully, my legacy gets to continue.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you will. They would.
That's
They
why I've always thought, they should, instead of the patriarchal line, that actually cuts you off from the origins of your family. It's the matriarchal line.
It's totally matriarchal line, and
Because,
any
well, the bottom line is, that baby came out of that woman.
right,
Papa's maybe.
You don't always know who put that baby in that woman.
right. It's always the match. That's the reason why they go
And
by
we
the
finding that
matriarchal.
out way too often nowadays. And some of these poor men. Oh man, I was watching one the other day about. They were in one of these. They're in one of these little genetic judge breakup shows, and it's like the kid's like 11 years old, and get the DNA test and everything, and the man is standing there. It's not his. He's got tears running down his face. You can see he's swaying. The mom starts going, I didn't know. Falls down. Everybody in the courtroom runs to her. The judge starts going, Are you okay, honey? Are you okay, honey? Meanwhile, they pan back to that man. No one even walked up to him.
And
No
he
one
was
put a
clearly
hand
hurt.
on his
He
shoulder.
cared about that
And
kid.
you could see tears shredding down his face because they just broke him.
His heart. Yeah.
Everything. That man is broken. It's going to be at least a week before he knows what the real world is, before he can even wash or think to eat or anything.
Or what
And
to
not
do
a
with the rest
single
of his life.
and not a single person thought to at least go, Yo, bro, you okay?
I pray that man keeps his sanity. Realizes that, hey, you know what, he got used. You know, all of us get hurt at times.
And what do you want
So,
to
because I
bet?
hope.
He may not financially do it, but he's probably going to check in on that kid from time to time.
Yeah, that's what I was about to
Well,
say.
yeah.
Most
I mean, because I'm
likely,
gonna tell you when
you already made a bond with
regardless,
the child.
he's made a bond with that child. So regardless, blood or not, um, in his mind, that'll always be his kid. Like they shared moments that
Now, I might be mixing two of them up. The 11-year-old, but it was still at least 2 years for the guy crying. But still.
Yeah. Every now and then I watch those shows. I watch it on
But
YouTube or
I
whatever.
get stuff it pops up on my reels and stuff every now and then.
Yeah, no, I watch the whole show. I that's one of the things I'm surprised. I forget what's the black lady name that the black judge lady that does
It's
the
from her
DNA.
show. It's from her show.
Yeah, yeah. I figured divorce. Is it divorce
I
court?
don't know if
Or-
I don't know if it's her name, but she looks like a Latoya to me, and I don't know why.
Oh my God, that was so racist, Doc.
No, I mean it's probably she looks like someone I know with that name. So the name I know, and just like it was a little scrub brush thing, I know.
I'm like, oh my God.
I mean,
that was a moment.
She does though.
I don't think that Pat really felt like you was being racist.
I know you guys know that I come from all different directions, man.
But look, that's funny.
But it's never from a bad one.
That's funny because you be using the sarcasm, and Pat be missing it, and then Doc and Pat just got you back. Because you didn't catch that.
Nah, he knew I was fucking with him.
I know this stuff is, it's tone deaf is the best way I can say it sometimes. Because I don't think about it because I'm not trying to be that way. It's never come across my mind that someone can take it that way, and then it's out there in the universe.
Yeah.
Well, damn, I said that.
Damn cancel culture that we live in. We all walking on eggshells and worried about somebody fucking being outraged.
Nah, man. Say, bro. I'm way like you. Some people might think that because of some of my beliefs that I would be racist, but I think I see more humanity in people than to try to look at somebody as just one thing or another. So I mean, I just use what I could to try to throw a little joke out there. And I
Mhm.
like I like dim humor. If you know, sometimes
Lauren
dark.
Lake.
Lauren Lake. That's her name.
Lauren Lake.
Yes, I bet you she fine as a motherfucker too. Well,
Well, anyways, y'all,
Yeah.
I gotta go, man. I hate to do it, but I got
n- n-
some business I need to
hey
take care
man,
of.
do your thing, bro. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I'm planning on driving tomorrow, and I need to get my ass up. So I'm not gonna really argue with you.
Yeah,
It
so
is what it is.
I apologize to everybody, but yeah, I got to do something. So we got to wrap it. Y'all got any final
Cool.
words y'all want to make? Anything y'all want to
Um,
say?
I do want to ask the people to you know, hey, we want to keep doing this show for you guys. Those of you that enjoy it, there is no charge, but if you got a few so the money that jingle, and we prefer the one that fold, but you know,
Yeah.
throw a few dollars in the hat, man. We you know, we just want to try to keep this going for you guys. And but thank y'all for showing up and being present, whether it's on the live or the replay. We appreciate all of y'all because you know, without y'all, it makes no sense for us to be here.
Yep, that. And you know, I've been doing the reels, and the reels have been getting views. The channel is blowing up, bro. It's like it's getting a lot of views, and the subscribers are growing like crazy. It's all off of the muscle of the reels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and if you can't afford to toss some money in the kitty, what you can do
do the
for us,
likes. Yeah, go
like
ahead.
us, subscribe,
Yes,
comment once in a while, even if it's just you suck. That helps us. Any interaction helps us beat that algorithm that you know that they're beating us with.
Yeah, bro.
yeah, for real.
Especially because we say stuff that they don't like, and if you want to hear more stuff that they don't like and you like, subscribe. Notification is a good one too. That way you get a ding when he comes live, and bam, you're just right up in it. I'll
Yep.
shut up now.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I appreciate y'all for saying that. You know, the algorithm is not our friend, and you know, it's the way it goes. You know, if you really, we were just talking about journalism earlier and how like the voices that parrot the narrative gets pushed up, and people that push against the narrative get buried, or in Julian Assange case, put in jail.
Like
And
they like really trying to like leave
and,
him like he gonna be there forever for life.
and in Khashoggi's case, killed. So journal,
And that's
journalism
just
is
like look.
Tucker's case fired. You know,
Yeah, because I
journalism is
mean,
dying.
well, yeah, well,
Oh,
really,
Tucker
it
got
died,
fired.
and yeah, but look, journalism actually had died a long time ago, and we just so happened to get some people that seen what was going on that eventually starts to speak out, and that's where we get the you know, like stuff like this where Tucker Carlson is getting booted. Like I hadn't really heard many people say much about Lemon, but you know, overall, it really is kind of a part of that a similar narrative because Lemon, he was
Most people
getting to
not gonna
be
say shit about Lemon because he got more rights than the average person. He's a part of the people that make up 70% of the alphabet.
Well, we did find out Kayleigh McEnany is
oh
taking
my
Tucker's
god.
spot. Kayleigh McEnany, 45's press secretary, little press secretary Barbie. She got Tucker's spot.
Yeah.
Shit,
See,
man, y'all ain't hear what Dave Chappelle said
What
about,
was that?
about basically he's saying like, he was like, people slam him for talking about it. He was like, bro, I don't hate gay or LGBTQ. He's like, I'm jealous of y'all because black people been at this shit for 400 years and you motherfuckers just been around 5 years and y'all got more rights. Y'all moving on up, surpassing us as far as the rights and things of that nature.
yeah,
It's like
well,
you're almost better off, bro, if you think about like the shit that's going on in this world. they are far more protected. I'm not gonna say what else he said, bro, because I know we live and I don't want to offend nobody. But yeah,
Yeah. So
Well, I've heard how that could be politically easier to some I don't think it is because I mean,
well, I think that when you're society, like for a gay black man, he's more likely to get the job than a straight masculine man almost anywhere.
but it's still not gonna get it over the gay white woman.
I don't know about that.
I mean, unless they're really exercising the affirmative action. I mean, look, even when you're looking at the government contract and stuff, like the people who still gets awarded over. I mean, you could be gay, female, veteran, and there's other things that can actually mark you higher if you're a black woman. Because I mean, yeah, I guess the black woman,
You
lesbian.
saw that list I put out. I did on the group page on the group chat, didn't you?
Yeah, I
Uh,
saw that.
I probably did. I don't remember
He was talking
exactly
about
which
the
one you talking
boxes, the oppression boxes being checked.
about. Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Say
yeah. That was
the
a couple
perfect
days ago.
candidate according to the left, and then I added. Oh, I forgot to add braces and a peg leg.
Yeah. Well, anyways, y'all, peace and love. Thank y'all
Peace
for
and love.
joining. Thank y'all for listening. I gotta go.
All right, Joe.
All right, peace.
all right, man.
All right.
Peace and love.